couple of years ago, Xerxes and I found ourselves in Thailand on their New Year, celebrating all of a sudden with a massive amount of people. We had no idea it was New Year's. We had no idea that this is how and when people in Thailand celebrate. So, just for reference, we're not complete idiots. It was not December 31st. They celebrate New Year in the middle of April. And this is complete ignorance. And I feel like this is a huge lesson about how ignorance is going to have you miss things. Like, even though we were in the middle of the New Year's celebration, we still missed it because it was going on and we were confused. So let me explain. Got to Thailand, middle of April. I believe they celebrate like 13th, 14th, and 15th, something like that. And I think we either got there on the 12th or 13th. But when we were first looking around to see what there was to eat, we were in Bangkok, and we came to a street that had like a couple of pubs, one across from each other, maybe another one next to it. Seemed like a happening kind of street. It seemed like we can get food fairly easily. It was in the middle of the day, so there weren't a lot of people in there. It was because I think it was like a pub that serves food, so I think it was more like a nightlife thing. And it seemed like that place was, if it was nighttime, it would be like this happening sort of block. But in the meantime, it was fairly empty. And outside of the place across the street from us, there were people who seemed to be soliciting people to come in to eat and to hang out by shooting them with large water guns. They also had like a giant thing of water where they would just, take a whole bucket of water and throw it on someone, throw it on cars, and everyone was into it. So I'm going, oh, this is how they party on this block, or this is how like the Thai people party. There's like a water element to it. People are completely fine with it. As people are driving through, they're honking, and they're getting water thrown on their car. And there's a kid with a super soaker as well. Everyone's completely into it. Seems like just the block that you pass through or that you party in at night, that they use super soakers as part of their super fun. And then I start looking around. We notice there's super soakers everywhere being sold, like on folded tables outside, inside the mall. There's little they look like temporary but so do a lot of things. Like the street food looks temporary because like they break it down and then, come back the next day. So these were like streets selling like giant water guns, and you go into the mall and there's little pockets of places selling water guns. And every time we came back out, there were more people with guns and more guns being sold in more places, and more people squirting at each other and participating. And so we started thinking, maybe this isn't block specific. This is just a happening area of Bangkok where people participated. And this was the weekend at this point. So we're thinking, all right, this is how they party. Unfortunately, I wasn't ready. I was wearing my Crocs, as I do, and I was slipping all over the place. But they were pretty respectful. If you weren't armed, you weren't getting wet. Or if you went like crisscrossed your hand or picked it up, like it was really kind of like gentle war, Like if hey, I'm not a part of this, they would skip right over you, except for the tourists. They were not as respectful. But like I said, every time we came out, it was like a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, it kind of like opened up like the Sixth Sense. Like, oh, this made so much sense. All of a sudden, we realized that all of this was New Year's related. All of a sudden, we realized that there's a tradition and celebration using water in this. All of a sudden, we realized that we were at the height of it. Like, I believe it was the third day of it. And we just realized we turned into the center of it. I'm talking about massive people, bumper to bumper amount of people. And they were having a great time. So they weren't quiet. All of a sudden they'd be like rushes of, yeah, and squirting people all over the place. We were right next to the next person. There was no chaos. There was a lot of respect. And think about this. We walked into a massive amount of people and we didn't hear them from far, like, causing a ruckus or anything. There was nothing like that. And it was just now, we're not getting to the end of the block for another, 20 minutes minimum. You just have to kind of like walk with everybody. And every once in a while, people would squirt water. And they still somehow, even though we were in a massive amount of people, they were still leaving us out of it. They were still finding like, it was very respectful. And I felt like this, I was like, hey, I walked into your thing. Squirt, like at this point, I'm in your thing. I get wet. That's me. And I feel like my ignorance has caused it so that I'm not holding a super soaker and I'm not involved. And they have to think about, oh, should we go around this person, in the middle of their massive celebration. So I don't know why we didn't think it just seemed like, oh, everything is new to us. So we didn't know this was like a different kind of new and special. We just thought this is how people party. So throughout this big, massive night, everyone's squirting each other as they're going through. Like, people are all ages. There's little kids out. There's elderly, like whatever age you could think of. And then I thought of this. It's kind of like, if you're in the United States and it's Halloween, especially like in New York, and I really only know New York. So in New York, you kind of course, people are hanging things and there's symbolism. There are pumpkins everywhere and there's skeletons and whatever. But you also see the random person dressed as a witch or a bunny or a warlock or whatever. And you go, oh, that's right, Halloween is coming. But people are still celebrating. So that's what we saw. We saw people are still celebrating. And then all of a sudden, it was the big major night. So like I said, everyone is squirting each other. Everyone's having fun. It didn't matter what time of night it was. We went out. It was dark. We went back in. We came back out. There was still a lot of partying. And it was actually very cute because it wasn't just venues that you had cover charges for. It was venues. It was spilling out into the street. It was restaurants were participating. Obviously, you're not getting squirted while you're eating. Actually, it's not obvious, but there was no squirting while eating. But it was like this very agreed upon big giant water fight. It was so much fun, even at lights. So vehicles would stop at light. Most people have little mopeds, but so you'll have like somebody on the back with the super soaker on the moped, and at a light they're fighting the people on the corner. Or there was a big truck one time. There was a truck and people outside sitting in the back of the truck, but there were a few of them and they were battling the few people crossing the street. And I'll tell you, like, there was nothing scary about it, nothing dangerous about it. These are strangers squirting each other with water. And like I said, no chaos, super respectful, super, just good vibes, just really good vibes. And I think in hindsight, we did see signs for it. It's just, we don't know necessarily what the signs mean, but it's called Songkran. And you would see signs of Songkran festival, whatever normal signs. Like, again, just like Halloween, like, oh, we're doing this for Songkran festival. We're doing this. Here's your super soakers, whatever. And I think that I would really like to go back to Bangkok, not just to go back, because I do want to go back, and Xerxes wants to go back also, but I specifically want to go back again for New Year's Eve. I want to wear the right shoes. I want to be ready. I'll wear like swimsuit trunk bottoms or whatever, and not like the shorts. This way I have the little pocket in the back and stuff, and just be ready to get super drenched by everybody, to participate, to not be so ignorant. It felt so dumb once we realized, because we just left ourselves out of it while we were so in the middle of it. It's so interesting. So yeah, like I said, I'm really glad he wants to go back also, because I feel like there's some stuff that we want to do, and I would want to talk about. We're getting the Thailand information, Bangkok information. There's other spots too. Phuket, of course, I like to call it Fuck It, and there's another spot also that I think is more by the beach. No, I don't know. Anyway, we're doing research, and so maybe we'll go. You can go for 3 months as Americans. I know that so far. So maybe I'll be back with the interesting things that we found, and maybe we can consider going there. It's so reasonable to be there, and it was so much fun to be there during a festival, a giant festival that we walked into. Yeah, pretty fun. Thanks for listening to this, and thanks for subscribing. Some people asked about supporting this vlog, and we're going to put in the description one of those buy me a coffee things. So you can, if you like, throw some what is it called in Thailand? Bots? Is it bots? No, yeah, it could be. Anyway, throw some bots. Thanks for listening. Okay, thanks, bye.